Thanks, Izan. If we were bid, would be late and would be disqualified. Good afternoon.
Indeed.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Enfold's second edition of the Lightbulb Moments series. My name is Philippa Patri, Knowledge Manager at Ayoko and a certified APMP practitioner. I'll be facilitating this session today. Very excited to be here. If you missed our last session, please make sure that you catch the upcoming sessions. Before we start, just a few housekeeping rules. For your information, please note that this session is being recorded and the link will be made available. To help keep background noise and distractions at a minimum, please stay muted and keep your cameras off, except for the panelists. And if you have any questions or comments, please post those in the chat box. My colleagues will be monitoring these and we will answer them at the end of the session. Please also use that function to interact with everybody else that is on this call and use the emojis as well. Contact details will be shared at the end of this webinar. Right, so what is on our agenda today? I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Lightbulb Moments series. I'm going to introduce our two panelists, and once we know a little bit more about our experts, we will then kick off our discussion for the day. So, what is Lightbulb Moments series? It's a series in which we explore technology and digital transformation in the bid and proposal development world. As we all know, the impact of the coronavirus is being felt by everybody and all businesses around the world, and the industry insights show that this has accelerated the adoption of digital technologies. Across the globe, we find that leaders are navigating a broad range of interrelated issues that span from keeping their employees and customers safe, shoring up cash and liquidity, reorienting operations, as well as navigating complicated government support programs. Technology offers opportunities to rebuild our businesses around the customer and to create a truly connected and highly profitable enterprise. In today's edition of Lightbulb Moments, we are talking to two proposal specialists from the United States of America and South Africa, which is Josh Ellis and Izan Kleuter Hamilton. We're going to talk to them about the so important phase in the bid process, which is qualification. We're going to cover what is qualification, why is it so important, and what is the role that technology can play in helping businesses to make better decisions. Okay, so before our panelists share their views on the benefits of technology in making better bid qualification decisions, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. Josh Ellis is the founder of Patri, a software and consulting firm dedicated to helping companies win more business through data-powered solutions and expert services. Before launching Patri, Josh was a marketing, sales, and proposal lead for top companies. He led marketing, enablement, and proposals at OpenGov, which is a leader in enterprise cloud solutions for government and one of the fastest growing companies in GovTech. Prior to OpenGov, Josh directed the government business at Decision Lens and launched the state and local government businesses at Qualtrics and Metalogix. He holds a Master of Business Administration from Georgetown University, McDonough School of Business, and a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish from Brigham Young University. Welcome, Josh. It is so lovely to have you with us today.
Wonderful to be with you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Our second panelist is Izan Kleuter Hamilton, a certified APMP professional who is a compassionate leader, started her career at IBM before honing her passion for winning business at other global and local concerns. Her rare leadership style is rooted in her innate ability to develop people. She has held various senior management positions in business development, marketing, and bid management over the past 20 plus years. Oh, that's what you get for reading people's biographies word for word. Izan is skilled in thought leadership as well as strategy development. Welcome, Izan. It's lovely to have you here with us again.
Thank you very much.
Good. So let's get into it, and let's get into the meat of our discussion today. As always, we like to create some context in these sessions. And for those that do not know, I think it's very important for us to give them that bid management 101 lesson, which is to inform them, or rather to enlighten them on what bid qualification is all about. Josh, would you like to take this question first?
Absolutely. For those of us who work in bids and proposals, and specifically work on, we try to work on contracts of all sizes, we know that we cannot respond to everything that approaches us. My experience here is, as a former proposal manager and even a former sales manager, was I would often have my teammates approach me, it felt like weekly, with multiple opportunities to respond to. And at first, we would respond to everything. And this was early in my career. I've had about 13 years of bid and proposal management. And as you know, that doesn't work out very well when you try to go after everything. So when we started putting really strong rules in place in terms of what we would pursue and what we would not pursue, we found that win rates went up by 3 to 4x. We found that internal contention within the company was diminished because we weren't asking for resources on opportunities that simply weren't a good fit. So to define qualification for bid opportunities, it's really, my definition is in part getting to the correct opportunities and really thinning out that whole portfolio of potential opportunities to get to those that are the best fit for your company. We'll talk a little bit later about why that's important, but that's a rough definition from my perspective in terms of qualification.
Thanks, Josh. I see it more like the way you've described it is more like a marriage proposal, that you wouldn't just propose to anybody. You'd have to find the right fit and get married well, hopefully. Izan, your thoughts on qualification, or just a layman's definition of what bid qualification is?
So, it has a lot of names. So just like a rose has many names, bid qualification goes by many names. And some people call it bid, no bid analysis, go, no go decisions, but it doesn't matter what you call it. For me, the definition is a very deliberate and systematic approach to decision making, and to decide whether you're going to bid or not bid for an opportunity. It is not something that happens on a whim. It is not how you feel that day. It has to be, in my opinion, something that is, like I said, deliberate. And it happens more than once. It's not just something that happens in the beginning of your bid process, per se. So you have to know when and how to make these decisions. But I think it's deliberate and systematic.
Thanks, Izan. I think so as well. And to our attendees on the call, maybe you can just share with us in the chat box what sort of approach you take within your organization when it comes to qualification. Izan, when you speak about it being a deliberate and systematic approach, what value do you think this approach adds to the business development lifecycle, as well as us being able to meet our sales targets in our different organizations?
Well, Philippa, that unless you have limited resources, limited time, money, people, qualification does not add value there. But we know that you don't have these limitless people, time, money. So the value that qualification adds is not only to your organization, your bidding organization, but also to your customer's business. You save your customer from having to read poorly crafted proposals and sifting through pages and pages of stuff that has been stapled together from 10 other submissions, hoping you have a long shot of winning. I think the value that this rigorous process adds mostly is around focus. It helps your sales team focus. It helps your proposal team focus, your executive team, your solution architects. But it's about focusing your energy, your time, and your money on those opportunities where you have the highest chance of winning. These two sayings around proposal, around qualification, and forgive me, I can't remember who said them, but the one is the fastest way to improve your win rate is to stop bidding on the things you can't win. And I love that. Don't bid on what you can't win. And the other one that I recall from many years ago is that if you're going to bid on every opportunity or every bid that lands in your inbox, you'll be better off buying some lottery tickets, because your odds of winning is better then. So it's about focus, optimizing your limited resources to win more.
Nice. I like that. Josh, your thoughts, or from your experience in the 13 years that you've done bids and proposals, how do you see qualification adding value to the life cycle as well as to meeting our sales targets?
I think, Philippa, it's foundational. As a sales leader, we know that globally, if you look at quota attainment, which is, the number that we sell versus the number the company expects us to achieve, among salespeople specifically, that number is 54%, meaning just over half of sales professionals hit their annual targets for the companies, which is very sad. And that's a global number put out by a company called Miller Hyman. And I love the anecdote, Philippa, that you gave about marriage. You wouldn't just go out and marry anybody. And I love what Izan said about having a systematic process, because what that does, to answer the question about how it benefits the full business development life cycle, is it puts in place a strong foundation upon which companies can build. Because on one end, if I'm a sales leader or even a proposal leader, I'm setting up expectations that we will only go after certain opportunities that fit certain criteria, which means, to Izan's point, that releases a lot of friction within the organization to actually optimize for the best customers. And when you do that, you do a couple things. Number one, we found that through the data that we've been able to collect for $40 billion worth of opportunities, that statistically, you will increase your win rate by at minimum 2x by pursuing the right opportunities and having that qualification schema in place. So win rate increases, number one. Number two, as I mentioned before, and I think it was alluded to prior, a lot of companies sadly make these decisions about pursuits. It's an emotional decision, right? It's a feeling. Oh, I know that we are the best vendor for this potential customer. It was written for us. I helped shape the opportunity. And a lot of those decisions are made with those statements, but without evidence. So I would also say that, to put back on the qualification process, it's an evidence-based process. Can you show me that you have a relationship? How often have you met with this organization prior to pursuing the opportunity? And what that does to an organization, like I said, not only increases win rates, not only decreases friction within the organization, but most importantly, it gets you focused, as I mentioned before, on the customers that are best fit. Then when you go implement your solution, the friction, we've all sold deals probably or won opportunities that were not the best fit. And we've all won opportunities that were really good fits. And we all know the difference there. So those three keys, winning more, reducing friction, and aligning our capabilities to our customers, are the three top benefits that I've seen, not only among our customers, but in my experience in taking a qualify first approach.
I love that. And I see here on the comments as well, Deshni says we have to take emotion out of the decision. which is alluding to exactly what you're saying as well. And the statistic of salespeople winning about 54% of their sales targets. I know you've spoken a little bit about it, but what challenges or mistakes do you think they make when they're making the qualification decision, which perhaps could benefit them or make them get a higher statistic in terms of winning or meeting the sales target?
Yeah, a lot of professionals out there suffer from what we call in the United States happy ears, where everything looks or everything sounds great, and we're so excited about every opportunity. And what that does is it creates poor efficiencies within companies. When you're in a company, one of the best metrics you can show is sales efficiency, which means how much money are we getting into the company based on how much we're spending on sales and proposal efforts. And when there's not that efficiency there, where we're pursuing everything or everything looks great, and like Izan mentioned, we treat it like a high stakes lottery and just blindly, go after things. That's really what I see in across geographies, across continents, is not having that calculated and systematic approach to pursuits. And what that does, as I mentioned before, is it creates inefficiency. I want to talk just for a moment about that before we move on. Inefficiency can manifest itself in a number of ways. Number one, it can manifest itself in that poor quota attainment that we talked about. Now that poor quota attainment affects everybody across the organization, right? If we're not hitting our numbers, everybody feels it. Number two, it affects what we're able to deliver to our customers. It really serves as resource constraints. If we're spreading ourselves across too many opportunities, there's less to go around to the customers who really need our help. So those are really the two deficits that I find within companies: happy ears, which also leads to inefficiencies internally and inefficiencies to serve our customers.
I love that. And last week in our previous session, we were touching a lot around customer experience and how it's very important for us to be able to deliver that efficiency that you're talking about to our customers. Izan, in your experience, what do you think are the most common mistakes, maybe in addition to what Josh has mentioned?
Yes, there's so many mistakes that people make, and even experienced people. So it's not just the newbies or the desperate ones or the hard taskmasters who drive you like a slave. But I think the biggest mistakes that we make, let's be inclusive, and we say we make when we qualify, is we don't qualify. That's like, no, I would just skip that because of what Josh said. It feels good. We know it. It's been written for us, so why go through it? Or not asking the right questions. If it's easy to get the answer you want if you ask easy questions, but you need to ask the right and probably the difficult questions if you want to get a proper qualification. And I guess that goes hand in hand with just doing it because it's a tick box on a compliance process somewhere. So yeah, I've qualified that. But in my book, I think the biggest mistake people make around qualification is thinking that it's a once-off thing and now we're going to bid. They don't use the intel that they gathered during that qualification process, that questioning, that conversation, or that workshop, whatever it is. They don't use that intel in their proposal and work it into their win strategy. So the effort that they spent qualifying is almost wasted because they saw it as a once-off thing, done and dusted, let's move on to the next. Yeah, I think those are probably the biggest mistakes that I see. Yeah,
I agree with you. I think those probing questions are quite important. And I think another thing to add on to that is to know that qualification is not just one step, like you're saying, in the checklist, a tick box exercise. It happens throughout the process, and it's important for us as proposal professionals to keep on asking those questions at whatever stage the proposal might be in.
Because hope is a terrible sales strategy, and I think hope and desperation often walks hand in hand. And when times are tough, people want to bid for more. They want to respond to more. When in fact, you should start doing the opposite. You should be more rigorous in how you qualify, because your resources are constrained, because you have less of people, time, and money resources. Be more deliberate, and there's another word I can't think of now, but more specific about what it is that you respond to.
Absolutely. I agree. So I'm excited to talk about this. Josh, you've developed a very slick technology, and you've built a global business around this one aspect that we're talking about in the process. And I'm sure all our attendees would love to just hear your brain and understand what drove this thought process. Why, which is what we're talking about now. Why did you develop this, and why did you specifically pin it on this aspect, which is qualification?
You bet. It's something I'm very passionate about. Over the many years of engaging these large contract pursuits in my career, I have made so many mistakes, and I've seen companies make so many mistakes. And I learned that it's not just about the qualification, but it's about quantifying the time and money expenses of these pursuits. So I had a light bulb moment at one point when I was at a company, and I built this qualification matrix through which we viewed every opportunity, and it worked really well. But I also had this light bulb moment when I was only looking at the qualitative information. Do we have relationships? How many times have you met with this prospect prior to the release of this opportunity? Are we the incumbent? Is there budget? All of those standard questions that we see at APMP and others. But the light bulb moment was, wait a minute, that's one side of it. The other side of it is, how much time are we spending per opportunity? How much money in aggregate are we spending per opportunity? And the thought was, if I can combine qualification with quantification of time and money efforts, and be able to show companies that per opportunity, this is your opportunity cost, this is your fit score, and is the fit score worth the time and money that you are going to leverage to pursue the opportunity? And once that happened, it was, all in on building the product, getting it out to market early with some early innovators, early adopters. And the returns for us were very interesting. From a data standpoint, we found that it was the combination of qualification with opportunity cost quantification that made the difference. We'll go through some of that, more detail later, but that's what inspired me. There's an aha moment there, engaging in my own companies, that I thought, what, we can go out and solve and make life better for a lot of organizations.
I love that. And I think we've had that light bulb moment as well. I think very few of us think about quantifying the qualification, and you've given us a lot to think about and to enforce it within our own processes. With that said, I think we're also excited for you to give us the elevator view on Patri. Over to you.
You bet. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
Nice.
And the first thing I'll do before we jump into the product, I do want to highlight the reason for this global problem. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. So one thing to note, when you look globally at the money that is flowing through these regulated industries across geographies. So we win opportunities largely in public sector, construction, supply chain, technology, engineering, et cetera, right? These are the types of organizations that need what we offer, right, from a proposal specialist standpoint to win these opportunities. So globally, there are 11 trillion US dollars that are processed through some of these regulated markets. That's a big number, right? And a lot of people, because of that big number, think, we need to go all in on bid and proposal opportunities. But if you look at that bottom number here, because the costs of pursuing these opportunities is usually 5 to 7 times higher than a traditional sales opportunity, when we lose the business that we pursue that maybe we shouldn't have, it's a lot more expensive. And that lost time and money amounts to about $200 billion annually. So I want you to think about that for a minute. How much time and money is your company losing by pursuing the wrong opportunities? So what we did, as I mentioned before, is we put together a suite of products to allow companies to be able to win more. We fill this gap between identification of the product, of the opportunity, and the response automation. They're great solutions. The list is very long here. RFPIO, Loopio, Chorus, Qvidian, etc. Really good solutions on this, and we don't play there. But we saw the gap here with the opportunity fit analytics. And what we've done specifically is built an integrated platform to start identifying opportunities. More about that here in a moment. But more importantly, qualify opportunities and then analyze opportunities for win-loss and determining why we won the opportunity, why we lost it, and taking that win-loss data and infusing it into the qualification schema to really make that data set really, really strong. And what we have today, as I'll jump into for maybe 10 minutes in the product, is what you see here. So we've talked a lot about what we call Patri score today. Effectively, you'll see data-backed opportunity qualification and also opportunity cost quantification. I'll show you how it works in a minute. In addition to that, within the platform, we have tech-enabled opportunity analysis. So as I mentioned, in a debrief after you win or lose, we can take some data within the platform, help you generate a report. You can write a report right there within the platform about why you won or lost. And then we can take that data set and put it back into Patri score to better calibrate the qualification criteria. And then on the bookends, we have what we call Patri Academy, which is a masterclass on-demand training on how to win more business as a capture, proposal, or sales professional. And then finally, we are going to market with something called Patri Explore. It will start in the US to begin, but consider this opportunity identification for those large contracts, and then we'll broaden that out to larger geographies. But with Patri score specifically, what I want you to think about as you review some of this over the next 10 minutes is the ability to qualify opportunities and quantify opportunity impact. The first thing you'll see within the dashboard are the following. You'll see opportunities by stage. Each of these stages is customizable to a company. In fact, Larissa, part of Enfold, our partner and company advisor, has helped us come up with some new capabilities within the product, one of which was those opportunity fit bands. So helping companies determine for, let's say in this case, we've pursued and processed 26 opportunities within Patri. We're able to see how strong of a fit these opportunities are. And for those that we've pursued, 11 of these 26, we have a win rate of 82. As you scroll down here, you'll be able to see a number of other capabilities. You'll see all of the opportunities processed with Patri. We'll show you exactly what processing an opportunity looks like or qualifying one. You'll see also some really important data points for you. The value of the opportunities won, the value of all of the opportunities that you've processed or tried to qualify with Patri. You will also see the money and time saved. So part of this build is when you first subscribe to Patri, what we'll do, and Enfold will do this as our partner in sub-Saharan Africa, is we will quantify to a general degree the time and money cost per opportunity. And then each of those can be adjusted by opportunity. We know all opportunities are not created equal, but what that does is when you determine and decide to pass on a low probability opportunity, we can show your company how much time and money you've saved by deflecting. That's an important data point because in addition to that, you can also show the money won. You can also take a look at where you are strong in aggregate. So for these 26 opportunities, we are strong in these categories, we are weak in these categories. And finally, at the opportunity level, you'll be able to see a number of data points that are super important. Number one, you'll have data points for the opportunity like estimated value, estimated pursuit cost based on those data points we talked about, estimated delivery costs. So if you have a high level services deliverable that will cost you money, we can effectively help you determine what your estimated profit is on the opportunity. Finally, you will be able to see what kind of a fit this opportunity is. In the case of this demo opportunity, this is not a good fit. And let's take a look at why this is not a good fit. We have here below opportunity insights. So each of these insights is also customizable to your company, but you get out of the box what you see here. So for this opportunity, we are really strong in being aware of our competitors in the opportunity. We did have strong knowledge of the opportunity before it was released publicly, but it's not a good fit for a number of reasons. Number one, for our company, it's important that we're the incumbent. In this case, we're not the incumbent, or the opportunity is not funded. We don't know if the project is actually funded. We don't think we'll make enough profit to want to pursue the opportunity. And then our professional relationships are low. Questions like, how many times have you met with the prospect before the release of this opportunity? Surface those insights. Now, when we talk about these specific insights, these can help your company determine whether to pursue based on the fit, based on the profit, based on the pursuit costs, or pass based on the insights that you see here. We also make the decision to pass or pursue a little more automated. So within the platform, what we're able to do is allow you to petition feedback as to whether you should go after the opportunity or not from your stakeholders internally. So a lot of our customers have the head of sales or business development, the head of capture, the head of proposals. Salespeople, if it is their account, can provide their input as to whether they should bid or not bid. And then finally, as I mentioned before, this is fairly new. Once you have pursued the opportunity, if you did determine to go after it, you have the ability here to document why you won or why you lost it. So we have some high-level features here that allow you to add custom categories or custom reasons why you won or why you lost. But you can take that a step deeper. You can put some notes here. But as I mentioned before, you have something called Patri analysis, which allows you to have some basic information about the opportunity. Did you win it? Did you lose it? In this case, we could say, you know what, this was an opportunity that we lost, and we have really limited understanding as to why we won or why we lost, we could go into the win-loss reasons. We can see that, okay, this is a lost opportunity. We've got some debrief notes maybe from the prospect or customer that we could link here, or we can load into here. Patri also does win-loss analyses. So if you want to offload that to us, we will dig into the RFP issued, the response that you submitted, and if they're publicly available insights that we can glean, we can compile that into a report here. And more importantly, work with Enfold to do that as well. So that's one side of the Patri score qualification. You have all of the data to determine which are the opportunities that score the highest in terms of fit, which are the weakest that you should not pursue. And the way we do that, to kind of cap off this conversation, is through scored, weighted, and ranked assessments. So let's say you have a new opportunity that hits your desk that you really want to take a look at. And let's just call this AT&T. The estimated value of this opportunity, we can say, is about there. And let's say the estimated costs are accurate. But you can also adjust these if there's some inaccuracies or you want it to be a little lower. In this case, this is a commercial entity, and it should be, let's just call AT&T for the benefit of what we have. We'll call them a high-tech company. Now, what we'll do is we have assessments that could be based on product-specific assessments or geography. What everybody gets out of the box is the general qualification assessment. But keep in mind, we will work with Enfold to build a custom assessment for your company. And what your users will do is, when a new opportunity hits the desk, if you will, they'll have an opportunity to take an assessment that maybe takes less than a minute, where we'll ask questions like, how much time remains until the response is due? How are our relationships with the decision makers? Does the client have a brand we want to be associated with? And again, keep in mind, these questions, their responses, their weights, their importance weights are customizable to your company, so that not one company is exactly like the other. And we found that over time that we had to open up the ability to customize these capabilities. So as we close this assessment out, we're looking at a bunch of different options. Are we the incumbent contract holder? Do we know the names of the other organizations competing? Could this lead to follow-on business? Is this opportunity free from competitive requirements? And after we complete that assessment, what we'll get is a fit score that allows us to see how strong of a fit or how weak of a fit we are for this opportunity. In this case, it didn't go very well. We're not a good fit. So what we may do is say, hey, you know what? Based on what I see here, let's go ahead and pass on the opportunity. Our decision to pass has saved us another 100 hours. However, if you want to dig into the opportunity a little bit deeper, you see that same fit score that was provided, you'll have access to all of the insights to showcase whether you should pursue or not the opportunity, and also petition some feedback from within your company about the potential pursuit. But most importantly, you'll have visibility into potential delivery costs, pursuit costs, potential profit, and you'll be able to flag all of these opportunities and then go back into your system and see that, you know what, because I passed on that opportunity, my money saved, my time saved has gone up, and I'm able to view the opportunity against others. And I think to close this out, as you qualify opportunities and quantify their impact on your business, you have the ability to rank opportunities against others. And I think that's the most important thing that we do here, is we give you the ability to choose based on data, which are the best opportunities to pursue. And you can rank these, you can weight them, you can prioritize them. But that's the power of Patri score specifically. And then what we call Patri analysis. You get this virtuous cycle of the ability to qualify opportunities, quantify impact, know why you win and lose, and then add that data back into your qualification schema to win more business. So with that, I will stop the demo presentation and open it up for questions or comments as we jump into the final portion of this webinar.
Thanks so much, Josh. Very exciting. I see here Larissa says, once you have enough data, there's valuable information you can feed into a sales strategy. No more is your data and how you measure qualification get lost, but rather it becomes actionable, which I think is always the aim for all of us, right? And I think that the question on everybody's mind is, cool tool, very nice to have. And what would you say would be the benefit of our colleagues here digitalizing the qualification process? Is it really worth the cost and the effort?
Yeah, you bet. From our customers specifically, when we look at win rate increases, across the board, though we can't guarantee win rate increases, that's going to be based on your implementation. The real benefit is decision making. And I think Larissa nailed it with her comment about actionable decision making, because simply put, we have customers like OpenGov or others on the market that have increased their win rates by 3, almost 4x, simply because the decision-making process is a lot more actionable. Mm-hmm. And from our perspective, not only do you have that, but you can quantify the return on investment within the platform. So if you've qualified a number of opportunities, you've determined to pass on them based on that data set, we can show you exactly how much you've saved in time and money. And most of our customers have an ROI of anywhere between 3 to 5x their investment. And we can talk a little more about cost and availability and things like that, but it's really about you as a customer being able to optimize your operation to win more. I mean, that's really it. Our theme and our thesis is win smarter. And what we enable is that smart winning capability.
And we all want to win smarter, definitely. But one of the things we discussed last week was around technology. And when you choose a tool, you have to make sure that you're very specific as the reason what it's for and how it's going to benefit your organization. So that begs the question, is Patri for everyone? Meaning, from what size of organization does it make sense to start using this kind of tool? Or maybe the number of opportunities that you churn out, can you start maybe looking at using this kind of tool?
Yes, I love the question, because we've been fortunate enough to work with a very broad spectrum of companies and operations, from some of the largest systems integrators that work with the US federal government to very small companies with maybe just a few users and maybe a few dozen opportunities that they like to process through Patri in a year. In fact, in South Africa, I know some of the customers that we work with, have that kind of big to small company size, right? So I would say, if you're pursuing or at least reviewing at least 20 opportunities a year, and that's just reviewing, not even pursuing. Likelihood is you'll pursue maybe 4 to 5 if that's your small number. We've seen success there. And then on the other end, we've talked to companies that are vetting 2,800 opportunities a year and pursuing maybe 700 of those on an annual basis, right? So the product is scalable enough, and the pricing schema is scalable enough so that you can, if you want to jump in and start piloting a little bit with a small subset and calibrate the data, you can do that. If you want to go enterprise-wide and roll it out to your whole operation, that's okay too. It's software as a service, and it's multi-tenant SaaS, which means You get real-time updates whenever we roll out something new. As I mentioned, Larissa's suggested a lot of great capabilities. The minute we roll them out to one customer, they're rolled out to everybody. So scalability wise, you're in a really strong position to either start with a very small instance or go large across your organization.
Okay, thanks, Josh. I see Carl asked a question here around how does one go about convincing a company to implement this tool when they are a volume center and they don't have the historical data to justify the expense. And Izan said, trial the product for free. I don't know if you have a different answer, perhaps, Josh.
I love it. Izan's right on. You can test it out for free. We offer those free trials just so you can get in. I would say also, part of the free trial could be, we also have the ability to input some of that historical data. So where you've won or lost in the past, you want to build the data set up a little bit. That's something we could definitely do, but really proofs in the viability of the product based on what you're able to glean from that trial. And I would say second, from an expense standpoint, again, while we can't guarantee, you specifically will have a 5x win rate increase, the hope is in the trial period or the early adoption period, we're able to get those quick wins and then broadcast it to a larger organization. That's usually how it works with us, but we're open and nimble with whatever operation that you have in order.
Okay. All right, cool. I think everyone also on the call is just wondering, seeing that we are on this side of the world and considering the not so favorable exchange rate, is it affordable for companies in South Africa to take on this tool?
Yes, we have paying customers in South Africa that are leveraging Patri, and the pricing schema is such that we want to be whatever the company needs us to be, whatever our customers need us to be. So on one end, on the low end of the licensing, we have a per user license schema that's really affordable, that can show a strong return. On the more enterprise side of the business, where maybe companies want to enterprise wide license, we have the ability to license by company and provide unlimited usage and users within their organization. So we will meet companies where they are. From an affordability perspective, there's only budget for maybe a few users to get started with Patri and build a value proposition. We can definitely do that. If you're in a position for enterprise level licensing with unlimited users, it's something we've been able to do that as well.
Okay, great stuff. Seeing that Enfold, is representing Patri in South Africa, Izan, where can people go if they want more information, or better yet, if they want to sign the contract and get on using the tool?
Sign on the dotted line.
Yes.
Philippa, thank you very much. Yeah, people can contact Enfold at enfold.com on our website, or info@enfold. We can always stay behind the call for a minute or two, but I'm going to put the contact details as we close. I'll put that as the last slide as well. Yeah, like awesome. Know what? Like they say in those corny, horrible adverts, people are standing by to take your call.
Love it. I think at this point, before we close off, I would like to know if there's any questions from anyone on the call. You're free to unmute yourself. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Oh, great.
I mean, I can ask a question, can't I?
Yeah, you can.
Josh, it often happens on the manual way of qualifying an opportunity that we qualify it, and then the same opportunity is requalified and requalified. And so can you do the same with Patri? And can you keep the history that says opportunity XYZ was qualified out, in?
Yes, we can. Yeah. We're nimble enough within Patri so that as new insights come to view within the opportunity, I love that we've talked that qualification is not a one-time thing, but realistically, throughout the life cycle of the opportunity, you will get new insights. There are going to be new budgets rolled out. There are going to be new technological capabilities that are required. We have the ability to be able to track all that through the life cycle of the opportunity and get you to the real of, whether you're a fit or not. I will say we used to just have a, front-end qualification solution, and our customers were very strong-minded, as I am too, about making sure that's opened up for the full opportunity life cycle. So yes, you have the ability to edit all of the opportunity capabilities throughout the life cycle of the opportunity, requalify, recalibrate within the platform.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else with questions for Josh, or even questions relating to bid qualification? We do have a couple of minutes.
I think we were so good that we answered all the questions.
I think
very
so
humble.
too.
We are always very humble.
Nice. Okay. So if there's nothing else, I don't know, Izan, do you perhaps have any closing or parting comments, or Josh yourself on your side?
I would like to just thank Josh for his time. I really appreciate it. Every time I see him present this, I learn something new. I honestly do, and I like that. It makes for interesting conversation, actually. And thank you, Philippa, for hosting us again.
Pleasure.
And to everybody
Josh?
who attended.
Any parting comments on your end around what we spoke about today?
You bet. Philippa, first, I just want to thank you for hosting us, and Izan, always great to be with you. I think I love our synergy. Want to put a plug in. I love Enfold. I love what they do. Super interested in making their life better, as it relates to serving their customers. And from my perspective, as I got to know Larissa and Izan and the rest of the team, these are some of the best people on the market, and we're a global company. I know all of the key players geographically, and I have to say this team is one of the best out there. So, whatever they do, please listen, take the time with them. They will help you win more business. And along with that, they are our partners in Africa. So, they represent our company, and whatever you need from Patri, you can get from our friends over there. But I just want to thank everyone I love the comments. I love the questions. I love the engagement, and just want to say thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Josh. Thank you for taking the time. But I will give you a proper thank you in my closing. I think this has been an excellent session of the Lightbulb series, Lightbulb Moments series, sorry. And I want to close off with a comment from Deshni, which is, I think that an organization needs to understand their goals, what they're trying to achieve from an RFX response process, the number of bids, what bids to go for, increasing their submission rate, and then they will understand what technology to go for, right? Because last week we did learn that a fool with a tool is still a fool, right? I think as we close off, every proposal professional, your mantra should really be, is it real? Do you want it? Can you win it? And can you do it? And it's nice for you to infuse the technology that is available, not nice, actually valuable, for you to get the insights and the data that you need to make your decisions better. To all the attendees, thank you so much for your presence, your attention, and your participation. And a very special thank you to our panelists for making the time and for sharing such valuable insights with us. And of course, a big thank you to Enfold for organizing this roundtable and continuing to inspire success in our proposal galaxy. We look forward to seeing you at the next webinar, where we will talk about more time, less risk with content and language analysis, which is on the 27th of October. You can register for that on the Enfold website. I think with that, I challenge you to inspire success in your day-to-day. Stay blessed, and thank you very much for joining us today.